it's that time of year again. You can just, boy, it's hard, man. It's hard to restart after losing all that footage, man. It's that time of year again. The time of year that only comes once a year, as opposed to every other time of year that comes multiple times. Okay. My goal with this video here is, see, this line doesn't work anymore because I don't even want to do that second part anymore. I want to get info out for the stream schedule for this year's Deathiversary, or as I'm going to be calling it from now on, presuming I don't slip up, and I will, Haruoween. But the more important part, I think, and certainly the one that's less time sensitive, because, this is the part that I'm probably not even going to do, to be honest, because I'm sick of sitting here recording this thing over and over and over again. But we'll see. So let's focus on that, the schedule thing. Let me tell you the schedule, because that's, at this point, that is my main goal, to just get the schedule done and record it and have that out so people can know in advance what movies are going to be on which day. Okay. So, if any didn't know, Haruoween, formerly Deathiversary, is a tradition I've celebrated. Well, characterizing it as celebrated is a bit of a retcon, but we'll get there in a sec. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we won't even get there. Who cares? Every year since 2014. And I'll get into boy, there is a lot of this, isn't there, when I wrote this? Yeah, I may not get into the true meaning of Haruoween. I don't know, deal with it. But for now, let me just, I've said that like 3 or 4. Who wrote this? What kind of dumbass wrote this script? God damn. For now, let me just give you the short version so I can explain the schedule for anyone who wants to watch this year. God, yeah, it's been like nearly 2 minutes. Jesus Christ. It's like one of those videos where they go like before, hey, I've made videos like that. I can't be too harsh. Yeah, I can. It annoys me and I should stop doing it. Other people should stop doing it and I should stop doing it. I'm going to stop doing it right now by getting back to the script, which does it a lot. Okay, here we go. From from May 9th to May, this is what it is. If you don't know what Deathiversary is, and you probably don't, maybe you don't, I don't know. From May 9th to May 16th, we're watching every Godzilla movie and even a few non-Godzilla movies over on Mally's Monster Movie Monday, which is my stream that I do every Monday at 16 Pacific time, 4 p.m. for weirdos. However, since this is a holiday special, good Lord, we're going every day. And I'm also going to start earlier. So for Haruoween, each one of the streams is going to start at 15 or 3 p.m. Pacific time to get a little extra room to breathe, because each day is going to be a triple feature. Now, you may have done a little math in your head and encountered an issue. There are currently 33 Godzilla movies, which divided into 3 is 11, not 8. And that's not counting the bonus non-Godzilla movies I mentioned, or that I'm going to repeat Shin Godzilla, which I haven't even told you about yet. So how is such a thing possible? Did I steal the 40 Forks of Alice and create my own dilated local time field effect? Nope. The gimmick this year is I'm bringing back, after a 3-year absence, you gotta visualize it or they won't understand, the dark Palmerian occult art of the Kombuvi. What's a Kombuvi? Well, you've heard of the dark side of the rainbow, maybe? It's kind of like that. Well, the story goes that in 2018, it was the very last day, May 16th, and we only had 3 movies left to go. 28, 29, and 30, which were Final Wars, Shin Godzilla, and Planet of the Monsters, for those of you who need to go to remedial counting school. It was my second full year living in Cascadia, so I was very high, and I had 3 monitors. Final Wars, I of course had a digital copy of because it had been out for some time. Shin had the Blu-ray, which dropped in 2017, and then Planet of the Monsters went straight to Netflix. So we had two monitors which were connected to different computers, and then a third monitor which could be hooked up to a Blu-ray player. So I had the idea to watch all of them at once. And I don't mind telling you that that moment changed my life forever. I'm not going to fuck with you. This is the straight dope. If you are not ready, if you can't open your third eye, either because you don't know how, or you never tried, or are unwilling to attempt it, or you don't have easy access to legal weed, it might be a confusing, cacophonous catastrophe. However, if you're capable of understanding that art is art, willing to discover your own meaning in things, because you're smart enough to understand that meaning objectively doesn't exist, and it's simply a glitch in your software, then you better buckle the fuck up, mister, because this year we're doing a movie every day. Well, except one. And then on another, it's two. So the math averages out to roughly one every day, even if it's the average and not. You get it. So, now I want to get into the schedule. You will notice that I have added times to the schedule when they go up on screen. I need to make it clear as I can that these are estimates. My stream does not operate on a strict schedule. I am almost never sober. I am there to have fun, and I try to put on a shunfo. I try to put. I've been drinking a little bit. Can you tell? I try to put on a shunfo for everybody. I do what I feel like is best at the time, so things can and have changed. These times are estimates that I arrived at by assuming a 20-minute duration for my customary 30 minutes of dicking around, which precedes each stream. Which, I should explain that. Which, despite the name, they aren't all actually 30 minutes long usually. Sometimes they are. Usually, these days are closer to 20, hence the estimation. It's just that the name of the segment is the customary 30 minutes of dicking around. And the reason it got that name is because at first it was about 30 minutes every time, but I've reduced it a little bit. So, and then onto that, then we add the length of the film, which is rounded, or the longest component of the movie, and then we round that up to the nearest 10 minutes. And I do mean up, because if it's an hour and 21 minutes, then I'm rounding that up as 90. I only don't round up if it's less than a minute over the 10 mark. So if it's 20 minutes and then like 45 seconds or whatever, that's, 20. So, okay, so that's how I came up with the times. I think this is a fairly reasonable estimate for when each film will start, presuming we do them all in this exact order, and I have no strong reason to change that. I'm extremely happy with the schedule as written, so I am comfortable putting a fair amount of confidence in these times listed so that if you want to show up for a specific feature on a specific day, it's not completely a fool's errand to use those times to build a schedule around. However, just keep in mind, there's a lot of wiggle room here. All things considered, these estimates could be off by as much as 30 minutes. If you want my opinion, it's better to show up earlier than later. But of course, if you want to come by at all, it's your own prerogative and your life to live, so do with this information as you please. Whoa! Okay. Ugh. Ah! I fell over. Okay. Always a good idea. Always a good idea to drink a lot of Fireball and fall over before a written segment. Okay, here we go. This is the actual schedule. Day 1. So first thing I want to say, if you see one in quotes like this, that is a provisional name. Let me explain this about, about com movies. You do not name a com movie before you've experienced it, because you don't know what it's about, you don't know what the takeaway is, you don't know what the sinks are. You have to experience it first, then you can officially name it. So all of the names that you're going to see in quotes are provisional names that I'm using to explain the concept of them, and they may very well be the name after we could decide that that is in fact the name. But it doesn't, it won't necessarily stay that way. So that's the deal with the quotes. And all of these are new com movies except for one. So 7 new ones. So you're going to see 7 of these in quotes. All right. Okay. Oh boy. I've been doing this for a long time, y'all. Okay. Godzilla colorless. The first Godzilla movie's in black and white. Shin Godzilla had this orthochromatic version that's in black and white, but like the reds are dark, I guess. I don't know. It's artsy. Then Minus Color came out, and then that one put I don't mean to dismiss the colorist who worked on these black and white versions of these films, but I haven't seen orthographic yet. This will be my first time, but I've seen Minus Color a few times, and yeah, it's just a black and white filter over the movie. I don't get it. It's cool. I mean, it looks cool. But anyway, so this is the 3 black and white ones that were made to be intentionally in black and white, where it is the first time Godzilla shows up. I did have an idea for... There are no quad visions. There are no quad vision com movies. Let me get that out of the way right now. I had a couple ideas for them. One of them was every Fresh Timeline reboot. So all the movies up to Final Wars, they all depended on 54. They're all part of this 54 continuity family. Shin Godzilla was the first full reboot that didn't rely on the 54 movie in any way at all. And then the anime trilogy did the same, and then -1 did the same. So you take the reboot, or the exactly first time trilogy would include the anime one, but as I did with the other Quad Vision, I cut the anime one because it fit better somewhere else, and I didn't want to repeat it. You'll see what I mean? They're gonna blow your fucking mind. You're gonna go, whoa, dude! It's gonna be great. You'll see what I have. It's way better than this. So this is a better idea here with the 3 black and white ones, so that should be cool. And then the quickie sequel is also in black and white, Godzilla Raids Again, which would be the next on the schedule there. And Mothra vs. Godzilla, not in black and white, but I have the power to make it black and white and white. So we'll just go ahead and watch Mothra vs. Godzilla in black and white too. What do we need? What do we need color for, right? Color's overrated. All right, so that's day 1. Day 2, we're going to start off with a second Kong movie, which is King Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong. Should be pretty self-explanatory. This one is weird. I do have a little bit of explaining to do. Normally, we have this thing called Geno Day, and Geno Day is the 17th of May, and after we've watched all the Godzilla movies, we watch some non-Godzilla movies, or the Hollywood license thing that bought the name of Godzilla and didn't use it. So we've got the 1998 Zilla movie, and then the cartoon, and then we have how many of these 5? I guess there's 4 of the Hollywood Monsterverse movies now, not counting the Kong one, which is actually good. And why is the solo Kong Monsterverse movie good? Like, why is that one like actually good? It's absolutely baffling to me. And it's not just like a little bit good. It's like so good. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get why did they get their shit together for this one movie, and then every time Godzilla's in it, they like fucking check out. I don't get it. But the first 2 were pretty rough. Godzilla vs. Kong, of course, as you know, is completely batshit insane. It is up there with The Room and Birdemic. It is absolutely it's just, I don't have a better word for it. It's insane. So it is weird to have, we're not doing a Geno Day on the 17th this year. We are still going to do a Geno Day, but it's going to be the next regular show. So, which is the 19th, right? And, but we're not doing that one. And I know it's a little bit weird, but obviously as a Kong movie, it works, right? You get it. You get what I'm doing. The Japanese one and the American one. It's cool. It's a cool idea, but it's even better because don't worry. It's not the original version of the film, right? So it's my fan edit that I made last year for Summerween, for my Summerween Kongathon. And I couldn't fix the CGI stuff, I couldn't fix the design, I couldn't fix the body language, but I could fix the sound effects. So that's what I did. I took every instance where instead of doing Godzilla's roar, they just had him, instead of being Skriok, it was just scream, you know, that bullshit. I cut all that crap out. I put in Godzilla's actual roar. I put in the sound effects for the beam, for the foot stomp shit. And then, you know, they do it occasionally in the movie where they take, it's almost like Godzilla's theme, but like it's fucked up and like off key and like, it's like a bootleg version of the Godzilla theme or whatever. I cut that shit out. Every time they try to do that crap, I cover it up with the actual Godzilla theme. So it's gonna sound, it's not gonna necessarily look, it looks kind of like Godzilla if you squint, right? He's not gonna move like Godzilla, but he is gonna sound like Godzilla, and they are gonna play his theme. So you'll be able to enjoy all the shitty, hilarious trashiness of one of history's best bad movies, and it'll almost be like Godzilla's in it. So don't freak out. It should be a really cool time. And then of course after that on this day we've got Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, and this is another big one. I've been talking about it for years and years and years and years. I'm finally doing it. So this is I'm calling it the set audio edit. I'm still working on it, but I am going to finish it. I promise. I'm going to have it finished by the 10th. I'm really doing it this year. I'm not fucking around, right? So, it's just the original Japanese version of the film, except I am taking out that awful Japanese dubber who covered up all of Nick Adams' lines, and I'm putting Nick Adams' lines back into the rest of the movie. That's right. I cannot fathom how this isn't already an existing fan edit, let alone just like it should be an audio option on the. Why wasn't it an option on the Criterion set, man? It's just it's a no-brainer. I don't understand why this didn't exist yet. So there are burn-in subs on this copy, so there are going to be situations where you'll notice that Nick Adams isn't saying something, but he is subtitled as if he's saying something in the Japanese version. Also, there's going to be times where his voice line and the subtitle don't quite match up. But I'm keeping all that in there for full context, so you're not losing anything. You're only gaining the Nick Adams performance on top of all the Japanese actors' performances. So it's the perfect, definitive way to watch that movie, and I'm finally going to make it. So, okay, so that's day 2. We gotta move on. All right, day 3, the 11th is Where Mom's Say Falls. It's always during Haruoween. It's a different day every week. This year it's on day 3. And this is the day I was talking about where we have 2 movies. And another thing. So this first one, provisional name Godzilla on Monster Island, but for real, which is taking the 2 South Seas movies, and then Godzilla's Revenge, which is composed primarily of stock footage from the 2 South Seas movies. This one, I think, speaks for itself. I don't really need to explain it. But also, in Revenge, all of the monster sequences are contextualized as taking place within a dream. So I think it already lends itself well to being a comm movie and being the kind of thing that you would want to experience that way. This middle one is takes a little bit more explaining, though. So, Destroy Monsters, as you may know, was not available in the West for a very long time. It hit theaters, and then it must have hit syndication on television at some point, right? But it was never in syndication when I was a kid, in the very late 80s and the 90s, like all of it, up until 1996, when Sci-Fi Channel finally got a hold of it. And so it was really like this holy grail, right? Because all the people who saw it in the 60s when they were kids remembered it as being like, oh, they had all the monsters and shit. And then I kept hearing about it as a kid. I never got to see it in the 60s because I didn't exist yet. And I was like, oh man, that sounds like the coolest monster movie ever. I gotta see that. Whoa! And you couldn't see it. And so it was this big thing for a long time. And then it finally came out and it blew my mind and it was awesome. And it aired on Sci-Fi Channel once in 96, I believe, alongside Hedora. And then it got a VHS release in 97 or 98, something like that. And I, of course, was at the time busy wearing out the tape. That ADV release. So, as I said, I was wearing out the tape. I'd seen it a million times. And in 1998, you may also know, is when Seven Key's first solo album dropped, Seven Key of Skinny Puppy. And so my sister picked up that album at the time, and she came over to visit. My she's like 12 years older than me, so there's a bit of an age gap. So I was here watching this monster movie on repeat. She comes over, she has this new album. I'd seen it a lot, so she wants to listen to the album. So we mute the movie. She puts it on, and she starts noticing syncs. They keep looking over to the TV. It's me, my mom, and my sister. We keep looking over the TV. It keeps syncing, and it's like, whoa. We're having a Dark Side of the Moon experience, or Dark Side of the Rainbow experience, right? Now, I cannot remember exactly at which point we paused the movie, or we muted the movie and then put the album on, so I will not be able to recreate this experience as it happened in the late 90s exactly, unfortunately. However, the album itself is in total 73 minutes long. The Champion Festival version of Destroy Monsters is 74 minutes long. So we're just gonna sync them and we'll see what happens. And, remember, as I said, meaning is subjective. Syncs are what you make of them. You put the effort in, you get out what you put in, basically. So, and then we're finishing out the day with the second comm movie, believe it or don't. It's Godzilla vs. the Space Monsters, another triple feature. It's Hedora, Gigan, and Megalon. And there's a little bit of a story behind this one because this is the kind of thing that I used to dream about when I was a kid. because, you know, in the 70s, they wouldn't build sets anymore because they didn't have, like, the money to build whole miniature cities very often. So Hedorah, Gigan, and Megalon, all the monster fight climaxes take place on, like, this barren wilderness, right? So I would have, when I would have these dreams about, like, secret Godzilla movies that existed, they would be, like, in the same kind of dark field at night, and then there's just a bunch of space monsters and stuff. And another thing is, you know, if you knew about the history of the writing process behind Gigan, you know that it was originally envisioned as a 3-on-3 fight of Godzilla, Anguirus. Well, there was a couple different versions: Godzilla, Anguirus, and Rodan versus Gigan, King Ghidorah, and Megalon. And there's another one with Gigan, King Ghidorah, and another monster called Mog. And it's this whole thing. So there's this pervasive idea of a Showa era 70s champion festival type battle between all Earth monsters and all the space monsters and all this stuff. And so that's just this kind of archetypal idea that I've had stuck in my brain for a long time. And so this is a way of kind of visualizing that, and maybe we'll get something out of it. Now, I will say this is the one I feel the least strongly about, and it was competing with a different idea I had, which was to do a Trivision Kombuvi out of the 3 alternate universe trilogy, right? Godzilla 2000, Megaguirus, and GMK. I didn't end up going with that one because it was a little bit too close to the Godzilla Samsara and the colorless idea, as in it's a window to 3 different universes at the same time. And also just because I think it seems more fun to have just the day for the alternate universe trilogy as a triple feature, right? That seems more fun to me than combining them. Whereas these 3, I've seen them far more because they're older, and also the idea of making a dreamscape out of them is like kind of a new idea, as opposed to 3 watching security camera footage of 3 different universes, right? Because we're already going to be doing that multiple times. So the context of the Kombuvi matters, and I think this one will be more interesting. I'm not feeling very strong about it, but, you know, we'll see. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. Who knows? Okay, let's move on to day 4. Now this one, the Kombuvi for this day has a very long title. Alternatively, you could give this one the provisional title of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzillas. This is the other one that I was talking about earlier that I originally imagined as a quad vision Kombuvi, the first. I've never done one before. It would have been the first. But I took out City on the Edge of Battle because it works way better with another Kombuvi that you'll hear about in a minute. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. So, and also, this one just makes a funnier title, you know, because City on the Edge of Battle is Godzilla : subtitle, while the other ones have Godzilla versus Signifier Mechagodzilla, so it just makes it more fun. Who knows what it'll end up being, but, you know, again, this is another one of those things where it's going to be like different security cameras looking into different universes kind of a thing. But whatever, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Now, Terror of Mechagodzilla, I would like to do the Monster Vision version, and what I mean by that is, in the late 90s, they had this syndication package of 5 Godzilla movies that they would run all the time, TNT especially. Whoops, I bumped the table. And so they had this horror host on TNT, Joe Bob Briggs, and he would do these host segments. It wasn't like it was like a Elvira kind of thing, right? The classic style, not the MSC3K style. Which means those host segments have been preserved on YouTube just as the bumpers, right? And so what I've done, and I probably do have this airing like in my stack of VHSs over here, because I know for a fact that I did record at least one Joe Bob Briggs Godzilla showing. So it may not be Terror Mechagodzilla, it might be, who knows, it's in there somewhere. But wait a minute. Actually, now that I think about it, this one might not have the Joe Bob Briggs segments in it. Oh, yeah, I think that's only for the first one for Mothra and for Monster Zero. I don't think he did host segments. That's right. I think it was just the commercial bumpers. Well, whatever. But I want to see the dub just because I like the Hong Kong dubbers. So that's probably what we're gonna do, and then Return to Godzilla. So okay, moving on. Day 4. Sorry, I built that up for no reason. Oops. Okay, day 5. So the tradition is day 1 you always do the first Godzilla movie. Day 5 you always do Biollanday, Mankind's Greatest Work, and the last day, Passing Crow Festival, you always do the last Godzilla movie, which is Planet Eater. It's the last Godzilla movie in every sense aside from production order, but it's I realized in no version of the script have I ever actually explained that. So it's the last in the sense that it is the logical conclusion of the core thesis of the entire Godzilla series and of Godzilla himself. It is the last chronologically. It takes place the furthest into the future, and there is presumably no reason why they would ever make a Godzilla movie that's further into the future than that. And it is it was the last Godzilla movie for me for, what was it, like 5 death anniversaries in a row or something like that. And the finality of it has a meaning, which I probably won't explain in this video because I'm a little sick of recording this over and over again because things keep going wrong. But whatever. So that's the tradition. So day 5 is Biollanday. Probably gonna do the dub. Gonna do the dub for King Ghidorah too. You can see I've written it down there. Now this middle one is the Kombuvi. And so what I'm hoping here is by taking the 2 daughter scripts that butted off of Mothra versus Bagan, is that I'll be able to have Godzilla versus Mothra over here, and Rebirth of Mothra 1 over here, and then if I cross my eyes, like one of those magic eye paintings you used to see in the mall where they tell you to see the sailboat and you never see the fucking sailboat because the whole thing was a fucking scam. This isn't a scam though. That was a scam, not this. This will work, trust me. But my hope is if you cross your eyes while watching them at the same time, Batra and Death Ghidorah will sort of combine and make like a metaphysical Bagan in your mind's eye. That's the goal here. So we're trying to... Toho are cowards and they won't make a Bagan movie, so we're gonna make our own Bagan movie, god damn it. So that's the hope. So I'm really excited about this one. I hope that turns out really well and it's a fun time. Okay. Day 6. This is not a good color for reading. I apologize about that, but I'm not fixing it now. So Godzilla vs. Chiron 5, I was calling it the provisional name Godzilla vs. Gunhead because it makes a little bit more sense. Now, a little bit of history on this. The Godzilla 2 story contest had a runner-up called Godzilla vs. the Robot Army. Shinichi Sekizawa developed that into his own draft, and that we have some information about. There's an evil rogue AI that the government builds, but it goes crazy and it starts killing people. It does a cabinet wipe, and then it impersonates people. It builds robots. It has like a tank and a helicopter and stuff that it sends out, and it fights Godzilla and all this stuff. And it's shaped like a big mountain, right? And that's called Godzilla vs. the Asuka Fortress. I don't know why there are still people who think this is a script from the 70s, but there are. It's not. I get people will believe anything on the internet, I guess. I don't know. So that's what happened with that. Godzilla versus a big rogue AI building thing. And then Gunhead happened. And I read in one of John LeMay's books that he has some doubts about the conventional knowledge has always been that Gunhead is a product of the Godzilla 2 story contest, and it's what happened to this runner-up. They took Godzilla out, and then they just made the movie that was left over. And he points out that the Gunhead project was a co-production between Toho and Sunrise to make a kind of like a live-action mecha anime movie, right? And so that idea is kind of exists independently of the Godzilla 2 story contest. And so that's true. And also, the script itself doesn't have a whole lot of similarity to what we know of the Shinichi Sekizawa draft, right? Like there's a little bit more difference than just taking Godzilla out of it. However, counterpoint, Gunhead is not a live-action mecha anime, and it is a movie about an evil rogue AI supercomputer mountain that tries to take over the world. So, I mean, and yeah, what's always been interesting to me is that before I heard more details about it, I had always assumed that it was a Godzilla versus the Sea Monster situation where all you had to do is replace Gunhead with Godzilla, and the movie basically plays like Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, right? They get stranded on this island with the monster. They have to wake up this slumbering monster, which would have been Godzilla, but in the finished film is the Gunhead. And then they fight it, and Godzilla destroys the supercomputer, right? That's what I always thought. The fact that it just has the same plot structure as Godzilla versus the Sea Monster just seems like really obvious to me. But whatever. They didn't end up making it, whatever the case with Gunhead is. They didn't do that Godzilla. Then in 93 or 92, because it was an earlier draft, for Godzilla 5, they were going to do the same thing. It was going to be a mecha the thing, right? And so it was going to be this mecha computer virus called Berserk, and that was going to make a Mecha Godzilla, and then they ended up doing that. And then Godzilla 7, I believe there was another thing where it was Godzilla, and they had it was called Genocide City, and they had a thing called Genocide Jaguar. So it's kind of like that Sonic 2 thing, right, where they just didn't really understand what genocide meant or whatever. They just used the English word because it sounded cool. And then you have the actual Mecha the Thing movie called Virus, which I believe was based on a comic book. And then after that, you have the Zilla cartoon has a Mecha the Thing of its own called the Techno Sapient or Sentient or something like that. And that's a really cool episode. We might watch that on actually we might not, because I feel like I've showed that every time we do a Geno Day. I don't know, I might skip that one. But then finally, after decades of waiting, we get Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle, which finally gives us the evil AI supercomputer giant Grey Goose City thing. And it kicks ass and it rules. And, it sucks that we didn't get to see any of those previous versions, but whatever. The version we got rules, so I'm not too crazy. I'm not too disappointed about it. But what I want to try to do here is take the first attempt at this idea that Toho turned into a monster movie, and the final product where they put Godzilla in it and combine them together and have Mechagodzilla do the same thing where we cross our eyes like the magic picture and have Mechagodzilla and Chiron 5 infuse them together into a single creature, which we can call the Asuka Fortress, basically. So that's the idea for that combo movie. And then, of course, the rest of the day is Space Godzilla and Destroya like you do. Okay. 2 days left to go. Day 7, this is Crowpass Eve. This is the one I was talking about, where we don't do a con movie, but it's going to be the alternate reality trilogy. So Godzilla 2000, Godzilla X Megaguirus, and GMK. I'm not saying the whole name, but you get it. So there we go. And then the last day, May 16th, Crowpass. This one's pretty cool. This is a really packed schedule. We're starting with Tokyo SOS. Like 4th or 5th best or something like that. It's up there. It's some of the best Godzilla that's ever existed. And then you've got Godzilla Samsara, which is the only one of these con movies we're doing this year that I've seen previously, and I can vouch for it. It rules. So this one does not have a provisional title. It is called the Godzilla Samsara. If you see it, you'll understand why. And then, of course, as per tradition, we finish off with Godzilla the Planet Eater, mankind's second greatest work. So, 34 minutes. Now, at this point in my script, I went on and I talked about how you can celebrate it and blah, blah, blah. And a part of explaining that was explaining the true meaning of Haruoween. And there was some bummer stuff, and it was a big story, and it got real personal and stuff like that. But it was supposed to be one of those things where it's inspiring, and you go, oh, wow, you went through stuff, and now you learned, and now you changed the name, and you're growing, and it's good, and people change, and stuff works out, and, have a happy life and all that crap. I did a take of this where I got to the same point, so it was like 38 minutes in. And my drive that I was recording it to, and bloop, I just disconnected for no reason. I've been drinking, and because it's always a good idea to drink a lot of Fireball before a written segment. It's late for me. I'm hungry. My throat is starting to get dry. Listen, I'm gonna give you the short version, okay? So what I wanted to do is the goal is to explain how exactly you can celebrate Haruoween on your own, because this is moving away from the model of just a movie marathon that I do and into one of the more legitimate weens, like a Falloween or a Westween or whatever. So it has a legitimate meaning, and the traditions are a lot more less like personal to me specifically. And I think it's something that anyone can enjoy. And so, because it's my made up holiday, it falls on me to explain how to do the made up holiday. So that's what I want to do. And so I want to get through it. And I do want to get that part in there. So I'm going to try. And this part isn't written. I'm just going to try to explain it as best I can. And if I need to fill in a gap, then I will. But at this point, if you just want to come watch the Godzilla movies, you have the information, you have the schedule. You can just go do that if you want to show up to one of the streams. There you go. So after this point, you're done. If you need info on the stream schedule, you can stop watching. You're done. But if you want to have your own Haruoween and do your own fake holidays, or not fake, all holidays are fake. You know, you determine what you decide matters to you and what's real in your perception, right? So, if you want, if you want to do this fake holiday and just completely ignore that, then you can too. And this is how you do it. It's pretty simple. It's a week long. You start on the 9th and you end on the 16th. What you do on every day for at least the first 7 days, I usually do it every day, but I'm only going to do it for 7 days this year, is you make art. Now, I always journal. I always have a journal that I write stuff in, and it's not necessarily like written. Like, there's a lot of doodling. There's a lot of just like dumb things that I thought, like dumb bits that I wrote in there. It differs every year. I originally started the journals because I was taking notes for the blog posts, right? Because it started as a series of blog posts, and then that gradually evolved into keeping the journal for its own sake. I just make journals now, and I do that every year, and that's part of it for me. You don't gotta do that, but you can if you want. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter what the medium is. It doesn't matter if it's something you've never done before. All that matters is that you do an art every day. Ideally, maybe you focus on a single medium or a single set of guidelines for everything. But, you know, this isn't Decemberween. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you you're celebrating it wrong. All I'm saying is take the week off. Be nice to yourself. On the 5th, on day 5, not the 5th, on May 13th, I always have the special ceremonial meal of a frozen Stouffer's lasagna and Dr. Pepper. And that may not sound very fancy to you, but lasagna is my favorite food, and I like Dr. Pepper. It's my favorite soda, and I like it. It makes me happy, and that's all that really matters. So you don't gotta be fancy about it. If you can't take time off, if you can't set the time aside, you know, whatever. What's important, what I want to get across here about the reason for the season, about why I'm saying that you should heavily consider celebrating Haruoween yourself, is because it's a spring holiday. It's all about renewal. It's all about getting your shit together, reflecting. For me, it's like my New Year's, you know. I start thinking Deathiversary to Deathiversary or Haruoween to Haruoween. Now, that's how I think about a year. The solar New Year's and lunar New Year's don't really mean anything to me anymore. So I had a whole paragraph that I wrote in the script that I wrote, and it's about what changed for me. And to get the point across here, there is the thing that you do on the last day, which is the passing crow ceremony. So, if you haven't seen Planet Eater, or you're dumb and you don't get it, they do this thing at the very, very end, after Haruo sacrifices himself. This is also part of the reason why it's called Haruoween, by the way. Where it's after, because the Hotua don't understand hate, right? That's settled, that's explained. The Hotua don't have a word for hate, they don't have a cultural understanding of it. So Haruo's sacrifice takes that away, and they lose the threat that Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla pose at that point. And Godzilla can still be scary, but it's not like going to come after them, right? It's setting up this world where they can exist and they can survive, they can win. And so the way that they celebrate this is they build an effigy of a little stick man, like Burning Man, right? And the kids, they don't have like a written language. Their language is made out of knots that they tie, and so they make these little knots where they write, and they're so I don't know what to call it if it's not written. They have their language where they put down all their fears that they have, and then they say them out loud, and then they attach them to the effigy and they let it burn. And so I started doing that some years ago. I don't know knot language. I'm actually not very good at knots. Strange but true, I guess. And I don't remember what I did 3 years ago, but I know that 2 years ago I wrote down, I want to stop being afraid. And then the last year I wrote down that I didn't want to die without having lived. Now, I don't really feel like I'm living yet. So I didn't get that done. But as far as I want to stop being afraid, I've actually done that. I've spent this last year really putting in the effort to cut out toxic people and toxic situations, and treating myself like I don't deserve to be treated horribly. And it comes and it goes. There's a push and pull to it. Life ain't perfect. It's hard. You struggle with stuff all the time. And I went from being someone who always assumed that I deserved to suffer because that's all that ever happened to me, to being someone who realized that I don't have to, and even though things suck, I can try to make them better with things that I can do, right? For so long, I didn't think that there was anything I could do, but now I know that that's not the case, and I can start doing things. And so by taking those actions, I have started to have control over my life and its trajectory, but importantly, my mental health. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to figure out. I don't know where things are going to go from here. I got goals. I'm still struggling same as anybody else, but I made an actual accomplishment, and I should be proud of this. I feel like I should be able to congratulate myself for the progress that I've made. And I'm not kidding. I really have conquered a lot of this anxiety that's controlled my life for so long. And so basically what I'm saying is that the Passing Crow Festival is actual magic that really works. No, it's real. It's real magic. It's real magic. Trust me. So you got to do it, right? Write your fears down. You don't got to actually build a little Burning Man thing. I'm going to do it this year. I want to build one. But in previous years, I just burned the paper in a candle. Don't do that indoors. Go outside. Go have a safe, controlled fire. Go outdoors. I'm telling you, be safe. I've made some mistakes some years in the past, okay? Be safe about this. But do it, all right? Write down your fears. Burn them. And, yeah, maybe magic isn't real, I guess. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe your wish doesn't come true. Maybe it takes 2 years rather than 1. I don't know. But, when I wrote the latter part where I talked about how you can celebrate and stuff, and I put in all the other stuff about the true meaning of Haruoween and more about the bummer stuff, I I said that I didn't want to give this video a title of "You'll find it when you need it," because there's too many. I keep getting recommended videos like that, and I'm just like, it feels scummy to me. Not that I think those videos are scummy, because I've actually seen some of them, and they're pretty good. Some of them are pretty good, but it's all just like I watch them, and I feel like it's the same thing where I watch like Godzilla YouTube videos about Godzilla, right? And we're like, did you know this? Did you know that this happened? And I'm always just like, yeah, I know. it it just feels kind of pointless to me, in that I'm no longer the audience for it. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want it to feel exploitative or whatever. But that is kind of what I'm saying. I don't have a prescription of how you personally, whoever it is that's still watching 45 minutes into this video just to boot a schedule, I can't tell you how to make your life better or how to not be afraid of Nazis coming to your door. I don't know how you in particular can change your situation for the better. I don't have answers like that. I'm not a doctor. I can't write that prescription. All I know is that giving myself this time and putting the conscious effort into it to think about things has allowed me to find my answers. So I know it's the middle of May. I know it's not December. I know it's not traditionally the holiday season or anything like that. And I know it doesn't really, it's not the equinox, it's not any of these things. It's like at a weird place. It just kind of felt where it fell. But if you can, go ahead and take the time off anyways, because you should. You should be nice to yourself and take the time to not worry, to eat your favorite food on May 13th, to watch. You don't even have to watch. It would be cool if you came and watched these Kong movies or other Godzilla movies with me. That would be great if you want to come. But you don't gotta. Just do some art, chill out, and, have a nice time. There's a ghost in here. I think there's a ghost. And then come May 16th, write your fears down and burn them. That's all I'm saying. I'm leaving it open-ended because this hasn't really been a thing that other people have done. But I think that even just something simple like this, even if you can't take the time off, if you can't manage it, whatever, just do something for you. Please do something for you. And you got to do the passing crow thing. That's the important part, right? So be cool, hang out for a week, chill out, watch some Godzilla movies, eat lasagna, and burn away your fears. And because I'm doing this off script, I don't know if I really need to say anything else. It has been close to an hour. That was kind of what I was expecting. I do ramble. Is there anything else I gotta say? I don't know. So, yeah, come hang out for the stream if you want, starting on the 9th. 15 Pacific. 93, I guess. All right. I don't know. I should read the sign out because I should read the sign out. I should at least do. Oh my god, I wrote so much. Yeah, it probably would have been over an hour if I read all this. It's okay. So, okay, here we go. This is how I'll finish it, right? So to recap, make art every day. Do the things that make you happy. Take the time off if you can manage it. Get high. Be with people who make you feel safe. I forgot about that part. That's important. Be around people who make you feel safe. Don't put yourself, don't make it like how I've heard some people talk about Thanksgiving or Turkey Week or whatever, where they go hang out with people that can't stand just because they're technically blood related to. Don't do that. Don't do that. Only be around people that you like, that you want to be around. All right? Pick your found family. Pick the people who you want in your life. Pick the people who support you, who are good to you, who aren't abusing you. Hang out with those people. Get them around you. Hang out with them. And then burn your fears away with a magic spell that totally works. And if you can, then it would be cool if you wanted to come by the stream and watch some Godzilla movies with me and my friends. Otherwise, have a happy life. I don't have a sign off or secret segment. You can have such a thing. 93, Priestess Melly out.